Hello everyone, welcome to Botany Optional for UPSC examination. Now in this particular video lecture, we are going to discuss the question paper number 1, which was of 2022, right? And this will be helpful in 2023 mains examination as you are going to consider the which type of the questions were asked by the UPSC and how the mark distribution is there. So this video is very important from the UPSC mains examination point of view for the next year, right? Now consider this is the question paper, and in this question paper you will have some of the instructions on the very first page. Now consider uh, there are in and all 8 questions. Okay, here what you can read in the first instruction that there were the 8 questions, right? There are 8 questions which are divided into the how many section? 2 sections. So 8 sections are there, and these were divided into the 2 sections. Total 8 questions divided into 2 sections. Both were printed in the Hindi as well as in the English language, right? Now it is very important to understand that you have to attend any 5 question out of the 8 questions. You have to only attend any 5 questions. Okay. Now, question number 1, out of these 5, the question number 1 and the question number 5 are of compulsory nature. That is, you have to compulsory attend these are 2 questions, while remaining 3 questions, you can select out of the remaining 6 questions, right? So, one should at least come from the each section, right? So first question number 1 and question number 5 are of compulsory nature, and in and all you have to attend the 5 questions only, right? And after these two, only 3 will remain. Out of the 6, you have to attempt any 3, but you should be careful that at least one question should be coming from each of the section, right? Now, number of the marks were indicated against the question. If you see the question against that question, you will see how many marks are given there, right? So these are the important instructions which are given here. Rest of the instruction you can read, right? These are general instructions that how to go for these papers, right? Now consider the very first question. This is the first question, and you know question number 1 and the question number 5 are of a compulsory nature. So all of the 5 sub questions which are given in this particular first question, you have to attempt them compulsorily. So consider the first question, which is for the 50 marks, and this first question is divided into the 5 sub questions A, B, C, D, and E, right? And each question will have the 10 marks, right? So in and all there are 50 marks. So the very first question, what do you mean by the mycoplasma? And describe its types and importance in the plant pathogenesis. Now, as you know, mycoplasma is the smallest living organism. We have discussed at a length this particular topic on our YouTube channel, that how the mycoplasmas are there, what are the different types of mycoplasmas, and how they can cause the diseases in a plant, right? So here, for just writing, what do you mean by the mycoplasma? You will have the 2 marks, and for writing the types and the importance of it, you will get rest of the 8 marks, right? Now in the second question, you have to describe the ultrastructure of endospore in the bacillus species. The bacterial species which is called bacillus species, in that bacillus species there is a structure called as endospore, and for describing this endospore you will have the 10 marks, right? Now in a third sub question, the UPSC is asking to describe the structure of strobilus of the equisetum. See, equisetum is a pteridophyte, and there is a particular type of strobilus created in the equisetum, and you have to describe that structure of strobilus. Now, that too with the help of well-labeled diagram. So you have to draw the well-labeled diagram of the strobilus of the equisetum. For that, you will get the 10 marks. Now, in a fourth sub question, the first part is the what do you mean by the chloroplast? Okay, just you have to write why, what is the chloroplast, and you should give the fine structure of chloroplast in chlorophyce. As you know, in algae there are 3 different groups: chlorophyce, rhodophyce, and phaeophyce. All of them shows the different types of the chloroplast, and you have to give the chloro structure of chloroplast of the chlorophyce, right? Now next is write the comparative account of the isohedral and helical symmetry of a viruses. So in the viruses we have studied the different types of the symmetry, and out of them 2 were asked here. The very first is icosahedral symmetry, and second is the helical symmetry. For writing down the answer, you will have the 10 marks. So all of these 5 sub questions, you have to attend them compulsorily, and you will get the 50 marks for these questions, right? Now, in the second sub question, which is the optional question, right, you can select whether to answer it or not, or you can select the other question as well. Now the second question is again divided into the 3 subsections. The very first, A, B and C. The very first was A. In this you have to write down what do you mean by the brown spot disease of rice. Okay, you have to give the disease which is caused in the rice, which is called as the brown spot disease. You have to explain that disease. Then you should give the name of the causal organism, symptom, and the disease cycle and its control, right? And then you have to write how does disease damage the rural agroeconomy in India. So you can see the UPSC is rightly connecting our botany optional topic to the social issues, right? So here in this particular question you should see carefully that how the question is split into the 3 parts, right? For the first part, just for writing down what is brown spot disease in rice, you will get the 2 marks. Then after that you have to write causal organism, symptoms, and the disease cycle and control. For that you will have 15 marks. And finally, if you give the note on how it will affect the agronomy in the rural India, you will have the 3 marks. So in all, there are 20 marks. So for each part of the question, there is a different answer, and each part is important from the marking point of view. Now in the B sub question, you have to draw and describe the cell wall structure of a gram-positive bacteria, right? As you know, the gram-positive bacteria possess the very uh, complex type of the cell wall, and this type of the cell wall you have to describe, and also you have to draw the diagram for that, right? And for that, this part of the question you will get the 10 marks. Then what are the major difference between cell walls of the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria? There is a very basic difference between the gram negative and gram positive cell walls, gram positive bacteria cell walls. And for writing down, you will have the 5 marks. In and all, there are 15 marks. So for writing down, for drawing and describing the cell wall structure of the gram positive bacteria, you will have 10 marks, and rest of the marks are given here for the showing the distinguishing feature between the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria's cell wall, right? Now in the third sub questions, you have to describe the Koch postulate. As you know, Koch postulates are there which are required for the separating the pathogenic bacteria from the non-pathogenic bacteria. Now for writing down the Koch postulate, you will have the 10 marks. And then how does it help in avoiding the wrong identification of any plant pathogen? You will have the 5 marks. So in and all, there are the 15 marks. So in this way, the second question is also for the 50 marks, 20, 15, 15, total 50 marks. Now consider the third sub question. This question is also the optional question because you can select whether to attempt it or not. Now, the third sub question is again split into 3 sub questions, A, B, and C. Consider the first one. In that, they were asking about the dikaryoticization in the fungi. As you know, there is a very unique concept in the sexual reproduction of the fungi, that there is a stage which is called as the dikaryotic stage. So you have to explain this stage. Then after that, for explaining this stage, you will get the 5 marks. Now, after that, you have to describe the different methods of the dikaryoticization in the basidiomycetes. For giving this, you will have the 10 marks. Then, how does dikaryoticization in ascomycete differ from the basidiomycetes? For writing down this basic difference, you will get the rest of the 5 marks. In all, there are 20 marks. Now, in a B question, you have to give an elaborate account of the use of the algae as in the food and the fuel production. Again, very basic question, and all of these questions, whatever we have seen so far, all are explained very well on our channel, right? Now, you have to give algae as an food and algae as an fuel. For that, you will get the 15 marks. Now, finally, you have to describe the development of a male and the female gametophyte in the Marsilia. Marsilia plant shows the different types of the male and the female gametophyte. You have to give their development, right? And for giving that development, you will get the 15 marks, right? Now, in the fourth question, right? Now, in the fourth question, again divided into the three subtypes. The very first is, what are the characteristic features of the family Orchidaceae? As you know, we have a very detailed lecture on the Orchidaceae. You have to give the distinguishing feature of the Orchidaceae. For that, you will get the 10 marks. Now, how did the classification system of Bentham and Hooker, then the Angra and Prantl and the Hutchinson deals with the placement among the families of monocots? For giving this, you will have the 10 marks. So, total 20 marks. So, the Orchidaceae, okay, Orchidaceae family is there. Orchidaceae family, you have to write down the Orchidaceae family's characteristics. And in the second part, which is the complex part of this question, you have to give the classification systems of the Bentham and Hooker, Angler and Pantel, and the Hutchinson system. All of these three systems are explained in a different video lectures on our channel, right? Now, all of these three were dealt with the monocots, and you have to give their silent feature. For that, you will get the 10 marks. So, in and all, there are 20 marks. Now, in B section, give a detailed account of the theories proposed to explain the origin of angiosperm. So, origin of, for giving the different types of the theories of the origin of angiosperm, you will have the 15 marks, right? Now, in the third sub question, give a detailed account of the type of the stomatas in the angiosperm. And for giving this simple answer, that what are the different types of the stomatas that were found across the angiosperm, that is in the flowering plants, you will have the total of 15 marks. As you know, all of these, each and every topic is already uploaded on our channel. So you should very carefully complete the syllabus on the channel, so that you will not miss single answer in the next examination. For that, you have to join the membership, right? And for joining the membership, go for the level 3, so that you will get all of the 10 chapters which are there in the UPSC mains syllabus, right? Now, consider the fifth question, and please remember, the fifth question was the compulsory question, right? It's the compulsory question because you have to attempt the question number 1 and question number 5 compulsorily. Then consider the fifth question, which is divided into two sub questions. First is, mention the role of embryo rescue in the interspecific hybridization. So there is a type of hybridization which is called as interspecific hybridization, and in that you have to study the you have to give the embryo rescue technique. Okay, for that you will have the 25 marks. For that you will have the 10 marks. Then in the second sub question, explain the hybridization with one example of economically useful hybrid. So here you have to give the concept of hybridization, and for giving the hybridization you will have the 6 mark. Then you should give an example of a one hybrid. For this you will get the 1 mark, and you should describe the what are the methods to produce the hybrid. You will get the 3 marks. So total there are 10 marks. Now the third sub question, where you have to write the account of plant used in the natural dyes. What are the sources of the plant which are used in the natural dyes? You have to give them, and for that you will for giving the name you will have the 7 marks. Then you should give the binomial name and the family of a 3 dye yielding plant that are used as a food additives. For just giving the name, you will have rest of the 3 marks, total 10 marks. Then in the fourth sub question, you have to distinguish between the anther culture and the microspore culture. These are two different types of the culture in the plant tissue culture. That is the anther culture and the microspore culture. You have to distinguish between them. For that, you will get the 8 marks. Then, which technique is more advantageous? And you should give reason for that, and you will have the rest of the 2 marks. Okay. So in and all, there are 10 marks. Then after that, you have to write the note on the palynology in the plant systematics. So precisely on this topic, we have the video lecture of 1 hour. You should go through that and you will find the definite answer for this. So all of these 5 sub questions are compulsory because this is the question number 5, and you have to attempt all of the 5 so that you will get the all 50 marks. Now consider the sixth question, which is optional question, and this sixth question is divided into 3 sub questions, A, B, and C. Consider the first, write and detail account of homospory, then anisospory, NAP and heterospory, and the heterospory. That is homospory, heterospory, and its subtypes. You have to give them, and for that you will have the 10 marks, right? Then elaborate on the evolution from the homospory to the heterospory in relation to the geological time, right? Homospory to heterospory, how the transition occurred. Now this for giving this answer, you will have rest of the 10 marks. So in and all there are 20 marks. So homospory, heterospory is also explained on the channel. Please go and check out that video. Now, in the second sub question, the endosperm is essentially a triploid tissue in the angiosperm, right? This we know. We have studied the plant growth and development, and in that you have studied that how the endosperm is developed and how its nature is triploid, right? With some exceptions, give a detailed account of the holobial endosperm. This is one of the endosperms which is formed in the angiosperm, and you have to give its account, emphasizing on the development of its variation, right? What are the different what type of differences can be seen in the sequence of occurrence of karyokinesis and cytokinesis in the nuclear, cellular, and halobial type of endosperm? So finally, you have to give all of the three types of endosperm, that is nuclear endosperm, cellular endosperm, and the holobial endosperm. All of these three types of endosperms, all of these three types of the endosperms have the different types of the karyogenesis and the cytokinesis. For giving this, you will have rest of the 15 marks. Then in the third sub question, you have to attempt that using the appropriate diagram, you have to give the normal embryo sac, elaborate the structural complexity of angiospermic embryo, right? So you have to draw the embryo sac and just give the complexities of the angiospermic embryo. For that, you will have the 15 marks. Now consider the next question, which is the seventh question, which is again divided into the three sub questions A, B, and C. See, in the first question, how it is split in different parts, right? See, write the uses, then the botanical names and the families of the families and morphology of the useful parts of the foreign plant. That is, first plant is clove. Okay, just you have to write down its uses first, the uses, then second, the botanical name, third, family, and fourth, morphology, and which part is economically useful. For writing down these five parts, you will have the complete marks. Then second one, you have to do the same thing for the saffron. Then you have to do the same thing for the nutmeg. Then you have to do the same thing for the date palm and the pineapple. Okay, so you will have the complete 20 marks. Then in the second sub question, discuss the botanical garden in conserving biodiversity. As you know, this is the ex situ type of conservation. In the botanical garden, we used to conserve the plants. So these plants are useful. These gardens are very useful in conserving the plant biodiversity. So you have to discuss this in this particular question. Write the names of the three important botanical gardens in India. Any three botanical gardens in the India you have to write, and you will get the 15 marks. So first part of the question carry the 12 marks, and the second part carries the 3 marks. Then in the third sub question, you have to write a detailed note on the role of ethnobotany in conserving the Indian traditional knowledge of the medicinal plant. As you know, I have told you many times that ethnobotany is a very, very important topic from the UPSC mains examination point of view, because there are no years or the mains examination without the ethnobotany question. Okay, so you have to write the note on the ethnobotany for conserving the our traditional knowledge on the medicinal plant, and for this you will get the 15 marks. Now consider the final question, that is the eighth question, which is again divided into the three subparts A, B, and C. Now consider the very first, that is the A part. Here you have to describe the protocol involved in the rooting and acclimatization of a plant produced using the vitroculture. Okay. Then you have to give the elaborate in a various problem solution associated with this technique, and you will get the 20 marks for this. Then in a second sub question, you have to differentiate between direct and the indirect organogenesis. That is both type of organogenesis you have to explain, direct organogenesis and the indirect organogenesis. Now you have to discuss the merits and demerits of the each method. That is, you will get the 15 marks for this. Now in the third sub question, finally we have the energy plantation. What do you mean by the energy plantation? And then you have to narrate the silent features in this energy alternative energy security in India, right? So for this, for writing this answer, you will get the 15 marks. So this is how there are total eight questions, and you have to attempt any five, and out of them, first question and fifth question is compulsory. So as you see, the question paper was very, very easy, and nearly 90% the content is already available on the Botany Hostel for UPSC mains examination YouTube channel. So you can directly join the channel and complete this syllabus as soon as possible. From our point of view, only the 2 months are required for the completion of the syllabus. So go through it and have the detailed knowledge of it, so that in the next UPSC mains examination you will have the good marks, so that it will help you to get selected in the UPSC mains examination. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.